Hello everyone, this is Plankera, and welcome to my universe. Today, I'm going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. I was taking a look at her front banks there, and I think that they are mostly looking pretty good. I'm just going to touch up a few areas, and then I can finally turn her face back on. Oh, my mouth isn't working. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. There we go. But yeah, I thought that most everything was pretty much in place. There's just a couple of small things that I want to touch up. That little area being one of them, but I think that is good now. When I go back and check what I did the previous day, I always like to check the things that I did at the end of the day first. Because I tend to be a little bit more tired at the end than I was at the beginning. So, naturally, it makes sense that there'd be a few more mistakes there than there would be in the areas that I did earlier on. So that's why we're on the right side right now. But even then, across the right side, I didn't actually notice very many problems. So with any luck, it will not actually take me too long to fix this up, and then I can turn on my layers. Very excited. I, for one, am looking forward to getting away from the floating face. And also letting her have two eyes again. Must be hard to be an observer when you only have one eye. And from there, I think once I have all of this the way that I want it to be, I think the next step is I'm going to swing her head around a little bit and see if there's just anything that is looking particularly off to me. I think I want to start with just making sure the large clumps of hair are in good spots, roughly where I want them to be, and then I can kind of get into the nitty-gritty details. Probably do that across all angles. I think that's a good way to do things. Or at least it sounds reasonable right now. So I'll go ahead and try that and see how it works out. I'm still at a point where I'm very much experimenting with my process and seeing what works and what doesn't. couple of days ago, I finally figured out something that's been bothering me for a little while. I had a particular art style that I was experimenting with, and for that experiment, I was making a new header for the channel. So it's the first time that I've drawn myself in quite some time. And it's been a lot of fun to do. But because I've been wanting to experiment with a new style, I've been having to try many things, erase many things. I have it all on a time-lapse, so you'll be able to see me kind of flail a bit once I finally finish it. And I finally figured out how I want to do all the kind of cloudy parts on my character design, like on the, you know, thing going across my chest here. It took me a little while to figure out something that kind of fit with the stained glass look that I wanted to go for, but also felt kind of light and ethereal enough, and maybe even a little bit unnatural enough to match the kind of vibe that I'm going for the character. That took a few tries. In my initial try, I kind of went for some Chinese-style clouds, since I had great luck with those with my Inktober drawings and that kind of thing, but it still just felt a little bit too heavy. But yesterday, I was finally able to figure it out, and I am so happy. I do look forward to showing it to you guys. I think how soon I am able to post it will depend entirely on how much I can clean things in one sitting. Because this one's gonna be quite a thing to clean. My hope is that I could use this kind of style for my comic idea, but I think I'm gonna have to do some more refinement before I can use it for something like that. Just because I think this would take way too long for me to clean up if I were to use it for a comic. I unfortunately do not have like 12 hours a day to sit and draw. I have tiny ones that need me, so I get maybe 2 or 3 hours a day, excluding stream time. So I'm looking forward to that. I've been wanting to redo my header for a while. Just because it's like I do mainly art stuff, so I wanted it to be something that... I guess it'd be wrong to say that I wanted it to be something that I drew, because strictly speaking I did draw the other one too, but the other one was made very, very quickly, because I found that making assets for the channel was taking a long time, and I was using it as a way to procrastinate from actually starting streaming because I was nervous. I was very anxious about it in the beginning. And so I was using making assets as an excuse to procrastinate. So I told myself, nope, we're just getting started. Throw something together. This works. So I just made a quick thing using my model art. So that was true for both the avatar and the header. So it's nice to finally feel like I can go through and actually make something a little bit nicer now. Something a little bit more representative of how I actually draw. Yeah, left side's actually looking really good here. Okay, don't have very much to fix over here. Love to see it. So I'll go ahead and fix this up, and today, yeah, I think I still want to just go through and make sure that everything's in a relatively good place. Probably won't pick out a bunch of low-hanging fruit, as long as it's close enough. I think I can afford to go into details today. I'm a little bit tired. Unfortunately, I just have not been able to sleep through the night at all this week. Like, it's probably been 5 or 6 days since I last actually slept through the night. Well, that's not true. I had one day that I slept pretty well, and that was the day that I was just super fried. Where my brain was just so full of stuff that I was just dead to the world. And that day I slept pretty okay. But every other day, no, I just kept waking up really early. Probably the equivalent of like 3 or 4 a.m. for normal people. I say that because my sleep schedule is a little bit bizarre right now, and I wake up very early and go to bed very early. Wake up at 11 p.m. Go to bed at about 2 or 3 p.m. Working out great for me right now, but it is a little bit strange. And I have to schedule stuff very carefully because, you know, nobody else is awake at that time. And everybody expects you to be awake at, like, you know, 3 p.m. Because society considers that reasonable, even though I don't follow it at all. So it is a little bit inconvenient sometimes. But it is letting me do all the things that I want to do, and that is always fantastic. That's why I'm rolling with it right now. I just need some time to be able to draw, maybe do some stuff with my husband, all that good stuff, while the kids are asleep. Because I cannot do a lot of those things while they're awake. So this is just kind of what worked out. And fortunately, I don't leave the house much, so I didn't really feel like I lost much of anything by adopting it. I will have to change it though, because my daughter's going to be starting school this year. And if I went to bed at 3 p.m., then, well, I'm not sure how it's going to shake out for kindergarten, but I imagine once she is in, like, full-day school that, you know, she'd be getting home at, like, 3 p.m. and I'd be already in bed. And then when she'd get up, she'd just be getting up for school and I wouldn't get to see her much. And that would just be sad. I still want to be part of her life. So I need to adjust my schedule to accommodate her new schedule. just kinda how it is. And thus my mess of a schedule will no longer let me do all the things that I want, and so I will be changing it to try to get as many of the things that I want into my days as possible. Alright, and once I finish this last little thing here, I think that's gonna be good for the bang tips. I can't believe that I finally have them, like, pretty much perfect, pretty much the way that I want them to be. Maybe a little bit sleepy right now, but I'm not that sleepy. I can definitely recognize when things are working. Alright, cool. Let's turn her skin back on. Let's go ahead and turn the body back on too, just because I kinda like having it there. Still leave the flower off, but everything else I think can stay. Yeah, look how nice that's moving now. Alright. So now I think the next thing I want to do is really pay attention to the shapes on the rest of the front bang, and then kind of radiate out from there and try to get some of, I guess, bigger picture stuff in there. Like, it's fine if we leave it a little bit messy for the time being. But I want to make sure some of these really key defining points, like this shadow here, some of this stuff under here, the tunnels, and just the general shape of her head and that kind of thing, that they're all in good spots. I'm going to be ignoring this lower hair for now. I don't really want to hide it for the time being, but I'm not really going to be touching it. Focusing on everything kind of up here. So this, I think I will work on a little bit more once it comes time to do body turns. Let's move her head back and forth very, very slowly and see what I see. You know, for this side, I was never quite sure how to handle this part here. I'm wondering if I should have separated this strand. Let me take a look at that. I think I can probably do a little bit more with it than I currently am. I have to tell myself, don't clean it up, don't worry about it, we're not there yet. Let's just gently get things into place. Make sure that you're happy with just how it's moving and whatever a 3D effect that you can pull out of this. Let's get that first. And then you can worry about making everything nice and smooth. This is all about the location for right now. The things will be a little bit wavy, but that's okay. Maybe not quite this wavy, but I might clean that up a little bit. But I wanted to add a little bit more of a swing to this little highlight. I think I want, like, the edge here and this highlight to be a little bit closer together, just to make sure, or not to make sure, but to make it look like, to give the illusion that her head is turning a little bit more and that these areas, or that this highlight is overlapping this area a little bit more. I'm not sure how much of that I'll be able to pull off with how I cut the layers here, but I will try. Gonna go in and do it manually. Just because working with the brush, I'm afraid I'm gonna touch the edge here. Maybe could get away with it if I just highlighted all the vertices that I wanted to move. Like just all the ones on the light spot here, but oh, that's work too, so it's fine. This is pretty easy. So I'm gonna see how far I can get away with pushing that until it starts looking strange and slidey to me. Oh, but that does look pretty good, actually. I like that a lot. All I need to do is properly connect it to the side bang here. Or not the side bang, but the side hair over there. So if this kind of comes down just a little bit here. Something like that, maybe? Yeah, I think that'll actually look pretty good once I clean it up. They don't match up exactly the same way that they did over in the original, because you can see there's just this long spot there. But the fact that the angle on it is really, really sharp now, I think kind of gives a similar illusion. Like it's turning. I think that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Okay, let's push it a little bit more. I think I can still do that. Let's see, do I want to push that any further? Yes. Yes, I do. Alright, let's keep going. Taking it nice and slow. Alright, I'm gonna go hard here. We're gonna move it a lot, relatively speaking. I'm being pretty careful because I don't want to move the outer edge too much here. So I'm gonna push it as far as I can without moving too much through there. Alright. I'm just gonna move all that over. The way everything looks when you just start moving it over is just always very amusing to me. Very liquid. It's also kind of pushing this red spot here. Just to keep this little strand coming out there a little bit thinner. Okay. Push this over just a little bit more. This little shadow as well. Make it look like the entire strand is moving over. Get everything I can on over there. Okay, that's pretty far. I'm not actually sure how much farther I can do it. Maybe I can do a little bit more on the top. But for the rest of it, I think that's about as much as I can do. Oh, looks pretty cool though. I like it. Yeah, once I get all this shaped properly and cleaned up, this is gonna look great. Okay. I want to do a little bit more on the top here. But otherwise, I think I'm happy. So I can go back and take a look at the other angles too. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty cool. I actually like the way that it gets a little bit straighter up here. Makes it look more like the little curve that was here is now pointing toward the viewer. So that makes sense in my head. We'll see if the me of tomorrow agrees, but right now, this is pretty cool. I am pleased. And while I'm over here, and the little spot right up there, there's a little tiny shadow there. The scroll wheel is unfortunately still having some technical difficulties. I kind of want to have a similar effect here, where it starts looking like that shadow is pointing more toward the viewer. So a little bit straighter, a little bit shorter. I probably can't do too much with that, but I can do a little. I can do just a little bit here. Let's see. Okay, this is fine for now. Now let's take another look at the little shadow bit right there. Yeah, right now, I think I still just want to approach the entire hair together before I start getting into the details again. We're just kind of going through another iteration here. But honestly, every time that I do an iteration on the full head, I feel like I change less and less. You know, while we're doing a little bit more with that highlight here, I think I can actually do a little bit more with it on the left side, too. I really do. I think I can push that guy a little bit further to the left. So we'll see a little bit more of the stuff underneath here. I don't think I want to push it quite as hard on this side. I don't think it's necessary. But let's get it out there and see what I end up liking. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I'm not actually sure if I want to do much more than that. I think that's actually pretty good. And that, yeah, fixing the part here will be fine once I go in and really start cleaning everything up. Maybe just a little bit more roundness on the top here. Something like that. Yeah, once I clean that up and get the details on it right, I think that'll look good. So I'll leave that there. Let me see, how do I feel about the dark spot here? Overall, I think it's in the correct spot. Here's just a little spot right through here. Let's see here. I'm guessing this is a change I made that I just haven't properly cleaned yet. But I just wanted right there to be very slightly rounder. I remember this area had a time with it because the way where the bang is actually is not very round right here. This is very straight. So I wanted to get a similar angle over here, and I think I mostly succeeded. The area that I want to fix up a little bit is small enough that I think I will do that when it comes time to enter hardcore cleanup mode. Alright, so let's keep looking around. I think the bang on the left and right is looking pretty good. How is it on the up and down? Actually looking pretty good. I do remember going over it pretty thoroughly at one point. So, glad to see that it's still looking pretty good. Honestly, pretty much everything's looking pretty good. This is all just small finishing touches. But I want to do all those small finishing touches. I think it will add a lot. I actually already see a difference in how the model looks with just the bangs there. That did help a lot. Yeah, I think that front bang pretty alright here. But I am seeing a little bit of stretching from this guy over here. By the way, I just want to mention that the reason that I'm going for some of these higher level details instead of going super hard like I did on the bang tips there is because I want to make sure that all the hair is working together right now. See these bang tips? There's not a lot of hair around them, so they can operate kind of independently. But with everything else, how everything else around it moves is more closely tied to how good the final product will look. So first, I kind of want to make sure that everything is reading well, the movement is good, and just everything is generally well before I start going into those details. I think that as I've been working on this model, I've been way too content to go into extreme detail, and it had me losing perspective. So I ended up having to go back and redo and fix up a lot of things. And it's related to why it's taking me so long to finish it. So I am trying to avoid making that mistake here, and I'm just going through, doing some bigger changes. And then I'll go through, zoom in, really get into the nitty-gritty at the end. And then hopefully at that point, everything will look great, and then I can just go finish. And just keep things simple for the body turns. Alright, I'm just looking at another area that I remember spending a lot of time trying to get right. And it's nice to see that I did not have to change very much in order to keep that. I think that it's looking pretty good. Oh, one moment. Sounds like I got a sad one. I'll be right back. Alright, sounds like she's fine. She just woke up because she had to go to the bathroom. And because she's 5, I must be informed of this. So you might hear her in the background. We'll see if she wants to come down and say goodnight or something. But it seems like she's okay. What was I doing? Let me remember what I was looking at here. Ah, yes. Side bang. Yeah, because I spent quite a lot of time trying to get a lot of those pieces just the way I wanted them, and I think it really paid off. Okay, so I was gonna go do left and right now. Okay, and much like with the highlight that I was doing over here, I think I can do a little bit more with this, where the hair splits. Over here. But first I want to touch up the edge right through here, because I felt like it was poofing out just a little bit too much there. As always, just gotta find those optimal floof levels. Figure out where the floof is at its best. Okay, and then just some minor things that I'll want to touch up there, but I don't think I'm going to worry about that just yet. I feel like I have the length of this strand right. I kind of want to change the angle, but I don't think I can, just because of how this was cut. See if I can do just a tiny, tiny bit. Yeah, I think that was better than nothing, but that is probably the best I can do. Okay, still a little bit short. But otherwise, I think it's okay. I do want to get the length of this strand right. Even if it is a small detail, I do think that the length of all these little strands is important enough that I want to get them looking right, like, now, before I start getting too big into the details. I can worry about the exact nature of the curves and the width and that kind of thing, but the length, I think, affects too many other things, and I want to make sure that it's okay. Yeah, I think that's probably the best I can do. Okay, one moment. Yeah, looks like she needs some help. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, what was I doing? I was adjusting the length of this strand right there. Wanted to get it right before I moved on. Me being a little bit sad that I can't quite curl it any more than I already have. That is probably the best I can do here. Yeah, and at this point, trying to get the curl just right is going a little bit more detailed than I want to for the moment. So there we go. Alright, now I can do the fun part. The part where I go in and try to make this look a little bit more 3D. So what I want to try here is I want to try to... Okay, I have to do it by hand. But I want to try to push this part and all these little vertices a little bit closer together, so that it looks like it's overlapping that little gap there. I think that'll, if I can pull off the effect, I think it'll look pretty neat. Just a little bit more three-dimensional. I say in theory because right now it's not looking great, but I think that's because this lower strand is in the wrong place, as opposed to the effect not being possible. So let's try to line this up a little bit better too. We're just gonna push this entire thing just way over there. I don't know, it still looks more like growth. Like it's growing rather than moving. Do I have to move this little dividing line that runs down here as well? I hope not, because that's always a little bit of a pain to move around. Okay, it has to be pretty small. In that case, it's honestly, if the brush has to be that small, then I think it's probably just easier to move it like this. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a lot of adjustment further down, so I'm actually just going to do my best not to pay attention to it and focus on the top part and see if that makes it look a little bit better. Yes, I think that's the right idea. Okay, let's push it a little bit more. This time, I'm wanting to push an area that's covered by something else so I can kind of get away with just using the brush. Makes my life a little bit easier. I always appreciate that. Okay, yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. Let's finish correcting the angle on this strand while I'm over here, because I do think that strand is very, very important. So I want it to be not necessarily clean, but I do want it to be the right shape. I want it to follow the entire path down perfectly. Okay, let's see. How should this actually look here? Maybe something like this, where it's a little bit more curved at the top and then gets a bit straighter as it reaches the bottom. I think that actually might make sense. It makes sense in my head. I know what I'm talking about. So we'll see how it actually looks once it's in motion. Something like that. You know, cleaner, but I think this shows the path well enough that I can at least test it. Oh yeah, I like it. think once I start getting into details, that's going to look pretty nice. Okay, yeah, I like this. Awesome. Let's check at the same area, but on this side. Okay. I'm gonna try to do something similar, but this time I make the gap between these areas a little bit wider. So this time I'm gonna push everything a little bit to the right. Okay, that's much bigger than it was before. Let's see how it looks. Oh. Okay, I like this. I think it's pretty neat. We'll definitely have to fix some color shifting there, like I see some shenanigans with this little color change right through there. But I think the idea is very solid. I like it a lot. I had already checked up and down, so we should be good to go on that area. So I'll keep looking around. Maybe go do the tips of the bangs of that area now. A big area right down here that I always like to do my best to ignore. But honestly, I think the effects that I have on that are already pretty cool. I really like how, you know, this part here, when I move over to the left, looks like it's twisting a little bit. I think it makes her hair look very floopy. Like there's a nice little pleasant curl there. I think it's cool. When I get into extreme detail mode, I might clean this up a little bit, but I think for big picture mode, this is fine. Let's see, I think on this side, this tiny, tiny little strand there, I think I want it to overlap just a little bit more than it currently is. So I'm just gonna like take the whole thing. We're gonna get a big brush here, and I'm just gonna push it over just a little bit more. Oh yeah, that's nice. That angle is a little bit too sharp, but idea very good. I like it. I like it lots. Yes, yes. And here, the opposite, where I let it separate from the hair a little bit more. Everything else, I think it looks fine. Just some minor things to fix up, like I think the shape here could be a little bit better. But that is, again, that'll be for later. Once I'm satisfied with how all the rest of the hair is kind of playing with all the rest of the hair. Tiny strand, not quite right, but it's a minor issue. I'm not going to spend more than a couple of minutes getting it right here, because I think that is something I can do when I go into detail mode. But I felt like it was a little bit long, so that was the part I wanted to fix. And yeah, now that's better. This is not properly attached. Alright, cool. Just due to how my layer order is, I can't really put this behind this strand, so I think this is fine like this. Okay. I guess I'll continue up the left side. Just do some intense staring there. But honestly, I did a lot of work pretty recently over that area, so... You know, if I'm lucky, maybe everything is just fine. And I already did all the really, really detailed stuff already. Honestly, kind of seems like the case. I don't really see a lot that I want to change here. Yeah, I think it's looking good. Let's... Oh, right, I should check up and down on this side too, though. Can't forget that. Yeah, there's a little bit, just a little bit on this downward turn here. Let me see, where is that? That's this layer. Okay. I think I can make this effect just a little bit better here. I think this is actually a good place to consult the mesh. Yeah, it's really not that far off, is it? Okay. Oh, that was all I had to do. Oh no, there's a spot right there too. Okay. I was gonna say, wait, was that really it? That'd be great. But no, just a little tiny bit right over there too. Okay, I think that's fine for now. I think it needs maybe a little bit more combing with a fine-tooth comb, but I think I can save that for when it's details time. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. I think right here may not be quite right either, but that's gonna be some shenanigans. So I'll save that for later. It's quite close, so I think this is okay. Honestly, it's pretty satisfying just going through and seeing how little that I want to change here. It's like I was here figuring, you know, there's probably some parts that are just not quite right, that just need a lot of adjusting, or maybe some parts where I could add a little bit more 3Dness to everything, but there just haven't been that many. It's really just getting to where everything looks right. And that's a pretty good feeling, honestly. Really is. Yay. Okay, let's start checking the right side now. I do remember there being a thing or two over on this side that I wanted to check. I actually thought that the side bangs were a little bit more off in the up and down, but they're not. They're actually doing pretty well. Okay, before I start looking elsewhere, I want to check the same kind of thing over on each side. You know, over here is definitely going to need some touching up for this area. If I recall, I moved everything pretty far over at one point and never finished cleaning it up. Well, it wasn't really my intention to clean it up, it was just I wanted to get it into the right place, and I would handle the cleanup later. It just, now it's later. So it's time. Not quite. Not quite time, but close. But I do kind of want to get some of the general shapes over there right, just so it doesn't bother me when I look at it. Okay, I think that's all right. I feel like the tip there gets a little bit long feeling. Let's just grab a big old brush here and very, very gently push this in. Okay, I will want to fix some things up there when it comes to be detail time, but I think this is good for now. Okay. So, time to head toward the back of her hair here, and then I have to decide how much I want to do this in the corners. I guess I can get them started today. That sounds pretty alright. I didn't make a bunch of super drastic changes, so I think it should be okay. But yeah, I really do just like the way most of this looks. I really nailed it with my last pass in a lot of ways. Like, the only part that I'm not really sure on would be, like, right over here. But I don't actually think I can do that any better than I already am. Just due to the nature of my layer order. I think that looks okay. How about up and down? Okay, down has a couple of shenanigans. That's okay. Fixing up those last few shenanigans is exactly why I'm here. Man, right now I'm asking myself just how much do I have to go into an extreme detail mode. I actually think things are looking pretty good. There's a few areas that I think I need to go over the details a little bit more, but man, less than I thought there was going to be. I thought I'd have to very carefully go over each strand here, but I don't think that's going to be necessary. They all kind of blend together properly now. Which, I mean, is good. It means that it's not super obvious that this is, you know, like 30, 40 different layers. And it all just looks like it works together. Alright, I am feeling determined, so I think I will indeed do the corners today. We'll just mold everything and then spend tomorrow at 1200% trying to work out all the last details. And who knows, maybe this week I can actually finish all my head turns finally. I guess I still have her back hair off, but I think all the other layers are on. Oh, and the shadows. Yeah. But yeah, all her other facial layers are on. I went back and fixed up the eyes, and they haven't been making me cringe as much. So that bodes well. Man, after 200 episodes, it might actually be time to do body turns. Hell yeah. Okay, yeah, I think that's looking good. So, let's go do corners now. I'll start on the left. Just kinda fix up those areas that I changed. They're actually pretty few and far between. I thought I was gonna have to change a lot more. So this is very exciting. Oh, I never reattached this tear. Okay, I should do that. I think that's where it attaches. Let me double check here. Kinda where it turns light. Maybe one more. One more little click. There we go. Let me see here. Something not quite right. Yeah, kind of on the back here. Let's see. I guess that might be where that strand was in the wrong place. I was probably planning on moving things out here a little bit more, so that means I'll have to move it again, but that's fine. It's pretty easy to move those little strands. So I think we need a bit more floof through here. Okay, yeah, that's better. Not a lot more floof, apparently, but definitely some. Okay, and then I think I'm gonna have to move that strand again. I'm actually gonna hide it for a second. Not that one. That one? Okay. I'm gonna hide it for a sec while I get this back into place here. I'll do both the up and the down together. Feeling a bit of deja vu. I feel like I've adjusted things like this before. Looks like I didn't quite get it right last time. That's alright. That's why I'm going back in and readjusting things again. I just need to keep trying until I actually get it right. Is that hair mane? Yes. Go ahead and hide that. There we go. It doesn't need to be popping out there. Huh. Fascinating. Okay, hold on. I did not know that this layer was considered higher than this little strand here. Okay. In terms of layer order. So you are 82, and you are 79. Can I get away with just being lazy and making you... Where are you? 78. I don't think I do a lot of shenanigans with the layer order here, so let me swing her head around a bit and make sure that nothing is breaking. Okay, things just not quite being in the right place aside. This seems fine. But it does mean I need to place things a little bit better over here. Let us hide this side bang here. Where are you? For whatever reason, that side bang. The layer always hides from me. And it always takes me a couple of tries to find it. Okay, where are you on the original? Okay, kinda where it starts turning light. So what I adjusted there is every single layer has a number associated with it. So this one is 75, and this one is 74, yada yada. And it basically determines the order that things are drawn. So I'm trying to remember here. It's things with a smaller number get drawn on top of things with a larger number. So you can kind of see it as... like the technical term for it is z-index, where basically it's just thinking of, even though this is a 2D object, because we're people, we think and we live in 3D space, we think in terms of 3D space, so we can recognize that her hair is on top of her head, and that when I turn on her back hair, that back hair is behind her head. So you can kind of think of these as different layers, and it's... what the z-index does, it determines, relatively speaking, how far forward or how far back it should be. So when they start overlapping, like you can see when I start moving her head over here, this hair starts overlapping this hair. And the z-index is just the way for the computer to know how things should overlap when they start getting on top of each other like this. So in this case, I wanted to tell the computer to draw this strand on top of this clump of hair. So that strand will cover it. Alright, I think this is starting to look much better. Still, I don't know, there's still some stuff going through here, but the movement between all these keyframes is becoming a lot more smooth. I am pleased. Alright, yeah. That's much better. Alright, let me make sure that this moves smoothly all the way around here. So I guess I'm doing this strand first, for the corners. That is fine. After all, it doesn't really matter what order I do things in, as long as I hit everything. So this is totally fine. Oh yeah, and actually before I go do that, I want to turn this strand back on. And get this into place here. It was the loop, right? No, that was the loop. This is a strand. Okay. Let's see. Right about there, I think. Let's move this around. Yeah, that was the right spot. And what about for you? You in the right spot down here too? Not quite. Let's see, where do you belong down here? Even though I just moved it, I still really like to refresh myself on how it looked in the original. Just because I do think it makes a difference in the accuracy of where I put things. Actually, I don't actually think your problem was your location. I think you were where you were supposed to be before. But for whatever reason, the tip got deformed somehow. I just need to kind of put it back. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, back over here. Alright, we definitely have some suboptimal floof going on over here, so I better get on that. Man, have I gushed about how pretty Shalom's hair is today. Because I am definitely feeling it, just how generally pretty it is. I really do just like looking at it. The artist did a fantastic job. Alright, I want to try to get Yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff happening through there. Let's see, I'm actually gonna hide... Not that one. That one. This strand for a bit while I figure out how this hair through here should move, because... Yeah, right here, this not quite right. That is definitely not quite right. So, let's go ahead and floof this out a little bit more. And I also want to fix just all the stuff through here that ends up going under the strand above it. See how much of that I can work out. I can feel my brain starting to get a little bit tired. So I may not be able to completely finish the corners today. But still, I did the left corners. Well, not all of the left corners. I did kind of her outer hair. Because I remember I still haven't fixed this part in the left quarters. That is just not what I'm looking at right now. That'll be fine once I clean it. I just see these little... a little bit of a frayed edge there that doesn't look good. But that is a job for detailed cleaning, and I'm not doing that yet. I still got a little bit more time to just poke around at some of the bigger picture stuff here. Oh yeah, but I can tell. I'm definitely starting to get tired. So, I think I will finish up kind of this area on the right turns here, and that will be where I stop for today. But I do kind of want to finish up what I'm doing here before I stop. But I gotta say, things are getting exciting here. Almost to the end. We'll see how much my perfectionism slows me down, but I really feel like I'm getting there for real this time. Alright, yeah, that looks much better. Much more smooth. So if I can just get that with the upper left or upper right as well, then I think we'll be good. We'll at least be good for today. Let's go ahead and get this little strand that hangs off here out to where it should be too. I'm trying to keep as much hair as possible on at all times. Man, the artifacting over here makes me a little bit sad. I had to clean up a lot of artifacting when I was preparing to rig this. Just because I had to upscale the image. The best quality image that I was able to find was still a little bit too small for what I'd be comfortable with rigging. So I had to upscale it a bit, and that left a bit of upscaling artifacts that I had to clean up. And it was a whole ordeal. And it looks like I missed some, and I'm a little bit sad about it. So here, I'm not really worried about making the edges clean, but I do want to get the overall shape of her hair out there a little bit closer to how I think it should actually look. So here I've mostly focused on the outside of her hair. The details on the edge and some of that stuff, that can come a little bit later. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. It's actually taking me a bit more time to figure this out than I thought it would. There were more problems here than I thought, so I'm glad that I'm going back and checking it all. Upper left looks a little bit better in that regard, though. Or upper right. Dyslexia strikes again. Alright, I think that's a pretty reasonable spot to leave things once I put this hair back on. Man, did it get deformed? It's looking really weird. Let me see. Hair, side, mane. Hair, side, mane. I just saw it. Mane, loop. Yes. Okay, so it's being pushed weirdly by the mesh group. Fair enough. In that case, let's stretch it out just a little. I'll worry about getting it nice and clean a little bit later. But for now, let's just get it into a good spot. And once this little guy is in a spot that I think is good for it, I think I will end for today. So I got started on the corners. Fixed some rather large issues with just how the outside was. The border of her hair, kind of defining the outer part of her head. So that is definitely nice. I will have to look at that very carefully tomorrow. But I think that's pretty good progress today. And I have all my layers on again. She has a face! A whole head even! And skin! It's wonderful! Alright, I'll worry about the exact location of that tomorrow, but yep. Every time. I feel like every day I do a little bit more work and let her swing her head around, it just Looks more like a head swinging around. Oh yeah. Makes me so happy. Okay. But this is where I will stop for today. So, thank you all for coming. And I hope you're able to create something wonderful today. I'll see you all tomorrow.